This is the VAR Room on Westman Studios. Today we'll preview the weekend games, interesting games coming up this weekend. And I have Cephas and Nabila to do this with me. What's up, guys?
Charlie, how are you?
EPL top 5 race.
Charlie, the top 5 race, yeah. I should
Make quotes for that side.
Hey.
What's like a pen on?
You see, I can't the Arsenal crowd account.
But the second year they chop. Oh, Arsenal the second year they chop.
It be 5 points or 6 points.
It be 5 points. 5 points, 4 games to
Oh,
go.
then chop.
And don't forget they have Champions League to think about.
Charlie.
Yeah.
So as we talk the EPL games, let's go straight into the EPL. I want us to talk about it.
Yeah.
The weekend games coming up. And we have interesting games coming up. We have Aston Villa, Fulham playing.
Yeah.
We have Arsenal, Bournemouth. We have Chelsea, Liverpool.
Big game over the weekend.
Like a lot of big games this weekend.
Man City Wolves.
Man City Wolves
Brighton,
playing on
Newcastle.
Friday.
Yeah.
Very big game.
But I think the Newcastle too they're playing.
So Cephas, City Wolves. Wolves are playing so well now. Matheus Cunha, like he's close to going to Manchester United. Very close. 85% close to going to Manchester United. And this is a Wolves club that are playing so well under their new manager. Yes.
Yeah.
And they are playing against a City side that wants to qualify for next season's Champions League. What do you think City needs to do to just beat Wolves?
For me, I think the most important thing for this City team now is they've steadied the ship. Look, there were some few months back that we realized that this Man City team all of a sudden looked lost. It was as if this wasn't the Pep Guardiola we knew. His team was all over the place. They were losing games, helter-skelter and all that. But in the past 5 games or so, it's been straight wins for them. And even in the FA
Cup against Forest.
We saw how they were able to handle Forest easily. I think it's good for Man City, and I've always said it, that when push comes to shove, the big boys will always stick their necks out. And Man City is doing exactly that. It's going to be difficult, like you rightly put it. Don't forget the first leg or the first meeting between both sides. City, Kane, Erling Haaland, they walloped Wolves by 5-1. Yeah. And so City will feel confident going into this game. I know,
but just that by then Wolves weren't in best form.
They weren't in. Mm-hmm. But I still tip City because I feel Pep Guardiola knows that now is the time to cement his position in the top 4 place. Look, Man City can't go this season without finishing in the top 5. Man City must play Champions League next season. I just can't think about Man City losing out. And in as much as we've agreed that Wolves will be a very difficult game for them, I believe City will edge it.
Chelsea, Liverpool, Nabila, big one. Someone will say Liverpool might not be very interested in a game because they are already EPL champions.
Yeah.
And Chelsea needs to win this game to qualify for next season's Champions League.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure on Maresca to do his best to qualify.
Yeah.
Do you think what do Chelsea needs to do? Like, it's a very difficult one because Liverpool will try to be stubborn.
Of course.
They'll try to be stubborn.
Of course.
They just want to spoil their party.
Yeah.
They know that Chelsea wants to win to qualify.
Yeah.
What do you think Maresca needs to do to just beat Liverpool?
Well, I think Maresca just has to play his normal game. Liverpool have nothing to play for. The pressure is on Chelsea. I think that this game is more of a mental game for Chelsea than it is going to be a tactical game or whatever it is. Because if you're a Chelsea side that you at this point in time, you can't afford to drop points against any other team. No mean a team than the champions coming to Stamford Bridge. You're going to give them a guard of honor.
Yeah.
Clap for them that they have done well. Oh, shit, no bones down for say, down for Bob. Hey, that's about the So after clapping for them, what is your next best option? Because you have to beat them. And I think that Maresca, with the returning players in Lavia, Jackson's kind of scoring last week to boost his confidence. Yes. I think that is going to work for Maresca this time around. I think that Chelsea should play their normal game. They shouldn't just be overawed by the occasion because it's a very, very young team, very, very young team, inexperienced team, and it has played on their minds quite a long time in the season. So for me, I think that it's more of an emotional game for Chelsea than it is a tactical game. But in terms of Maresca, just play a normal game. I think last week he was able to show us that he has that bit of tactical trick within him. I think he should still maintain how he played against Everton. Invert Caicedo from the right side so that to bring that physicality in the middle. Start your Lavia, play your Enzo Fernandez in the half space, whether the left or the right half space. Allow Palmer to play his game, though he's lost form, but just allow him to play his game. Don't try to find a formula simply because Palmer has lost form to try to get just allow him to play his game. It's normal. He's a young player. He's going to lose focus at a bit point in time. There's his second major season playing as a pro or as a senior player in there. So just allow him to play his game. And I think that if there's going to be a win, I only see Chelsea winning because look, Liverpool, they have nothing to play for now. So I think it's a win for Chelsea for me.
Okay. Brighton, Newcastle, another big one. Brighton last weekend did a fantastic comeback against West Ham, beating West Ham by 3-2. Yeah. Hey, Graham Potter, I said, Charlie, Graham Potter, because I thought he's sitting back from the Chelsea, like after Chelsea sacked him, he's going to do his best at West Ham, but she too much.
You know they go well.
You know they sit up. See the way they play. They sit up. Yeah. Man. Brighton Newcastle will be a big one.
Absolutely.
Because Brighton won last weekend. Newcastle also won against Ipswich by 3-0 last weekend. Stephas, what do you think Newcastle needs to win this game? Because now the title, the Champions League race is so...
You can't afford to sleep.
You can't even get 1 point.
Even if you draw.
You just need to get a 3 points and you'll be safe. What do you think Newcastle needs to do? Because Brighton, on the other hand, also wants to qualify for Europe next season. Because they will want to win this game.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Newcastle too, they are playing a side that have been, difficult for them to beat in recent times.
Yeah.
In the last 4 meetings between both sides, Brighton has actually won 2. Newcastle have won 1. 1 ended in a draw. So it tells you that Newcastle themselves are fully aware of the task ahead. Make no mistake about this Brighton side. They are a very brilliant side. On any day when they get their day, they can brush you off, with their swift passing, long range passes and all that. And they have the caliber of players to even finish them. You can talk of the likes of Danny Welbeck. You can talk of
Mitoma,
João Pedro, Mitoma and all that. They have very good, very, very good players. And we saw how when a team is playing with, no pressure, it liberates them and it makes them express themselves much better. We saw that against West Ham. The game was virtually dead and buried. Then out of nothing, Brighton came up with 2 late goals to win the game. Newcastle would have to be very aware of the situation. Look, yes, they are chasing Champions League spots, but they need to be very careful at the back. Yeah. We've seen this Newcastle team in the past few games concede a lot of goals. Just after winning the FA Cup, they seem to, the Carabao Cup, I should say, the form seemed to have dwindled a bit. They are not very consistent with their performances. But against Brighton, especially going away from home, they need to be 100% top notch. Like they need to concentrate to be able to get all 3 points. It's going to be difficult. I see goals in it. But if Newcastle are not careful, Brighton might just sneak something out of this.
And even with this game, Newcastle is yet to beat Brighton this season. They've met twice this season. The first round, Brighton beat Newcastle 1-0 at the St. James's Park. Mm-hmm. And the same St. James Park, they went to play an FA Cup game. Yeah. And Brighton also won 2-1.
Yeah,
exactly.
So Brighton are very stubborn when they meet Newcastle. So Aston Villa, Fulham, Nabila, this is another big one that Aston Villa just wants to win to just qualify for Europe next season.
Yeah. And Villa can't, again, Villa also is one of the teams that I can't afford to lose points. Coming up against a very Fulham side, which to me this isn't even overly impressive. Very, very impressive in there. Of course, even last week they won 2-1, right? Yes, I think so. I think last week they won 2-1, having lost to Chelsea in the previous week. The point is that Emery seemed to have kind of prioritized qualifying for the UCL next season over any other thing. Because last weekend they were beaten surprisingly by Crystal Palace 3-0 in the FA Cup semi-finals. And I was very sure because I felt Aston Villa were putting together quite a good run going forward. But they were pegged back last week. And so Emery knows that his only route to get into the UCL is to win all their games. And Aston Villa is playing at home against a Fulham side that are very physical, very, very physical, dominant, win their duels. And if you're not careful, they are going to bully you. And I think Aston Villa on the other side also have quite similar profiles to stand up against Fulham. So for me, I don't know, but I feel like that game is going to be like a high-scoring draw, like a 2-2, like a 3-3. Because I think both teams have their goals, in them. Okay. Both teams, they are tactical. They match up against each other tactically. So for me, I think I see kind of a draw game there, but if there's going to be a win, I think Villa wins it.
Okay, so in the Bundesliga, Harry Kane will be winning his first major trophy
Likely.
this weekend if he beats when Bayern beats Leipzig. And it's a big one because mostly when Leipzig meets the big guys, Bayern, Dortmund, they become very stubborn. Cephas, just in 1 minute, just talk to me about Harry Kane winning the Bundesliga with Bayern.
Finally winning.
Finally.
Yes.
He's breaking his trophy virginity.
But unfortunately for him, he's missing the game.
He's missing the game.
He's missing the game.
That's the
So
thing.
anyways,
Charlie.
but I think it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be very entertaining. As you rightly put it, Leipzig are a very tough customer for most of the top clubs in Germany. Bayern need the win. They know they are just a whisker away from annexing the league title and all that. So the motivation doesn't come any better than this.
Of course.
You just have to go all out. Vincent Kompany knows this is the time to make history for he himself as a coach, his first silverware as a coach in top flight football. So for me, I don't think Bayern should let their guards lose. I know it will be difficult, but hey, go out there, get the 3 points, win the league.
Win your league. That's
Nabila, straight to the Serie A, Napoli, Inter Milan. The race is now a 3-point gap between Napoli and Inter Milan. Napoli has a chance to win the Serie A because they don't have a lot of games to play, unlike Inter that have the Champions League to play. Do you think Napoli is done there for Napoli?
Of course, because the two teams that both of them are playing are themselves not good this season. Lecce, Verona, all of them are like they are dwindling somewhere in the bottom half of the table. I think Lecce is in the relegation zone. Verona is somewhere 15th on the league table. So irrespective of Inter's priority this season, I think that both teams are winning the games. Napoli, of course, they have every motivation to win because if you win, you keep up that 3 points gap. Inter on the other side has also, of course, they have to salvage their pride because you can't keep losing all the time, especially in the Serie A. Having lost your previous 2 games against Bologna and then against AS Roma. So for me, I think it's a win-win for both sides.
Straight to the La Liga, Cephas, and a stubborn Celta Vigo side is meeting Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu. And this is a Real Madrid side that are playing, like now their centre backs or their defenders, they just have 4
Virtually everyone is gone.
Because Alaba out, Camavinga out, Rudiger out. Who again? Like a lot of their players are out. And also another suspension. Like it's not looking good for Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And now it looks clearly that it's very likely they might go trophyless this season.
Yeah.
The game will be very tough, especially knowing very well they have to win to just give Barcelona the pressure. Yes. What do you think they have to do to just beat Celta, a stubborn Celta Vigo side?
Well, unfortunately for them too, I think Barca plays on Saturday.
Yeah, Barca.
So that means if Barca gets to beat Valladolid, that's a 7-point gap again, mounting a lot of pressure on them going into the game against Celta Vigo. They just have to hold their side of the bargain. Look, now all you have to do is win your games and hope.
Yeah.
That's Barca will drop points. It's not beyond Madrid, irrespective of the injuries they have at their disposal. I did mention some time ago, Celta Vigo, they are very good entertainers in the Spanish league. They'll give you beautiful football, they'll give you goals, but when it matters most, sometimes they tend to falter. I think it will be difficult for Real Madrid, yes, but I'll still stick my neck out for them to win it.
So Barcelona, as Sefa said, they'll play on Saturday. Barcelona just needs to win. Now they just need to win to just win the La Liga, because when they win the La Liga, they'll win their 3rd trophy of the season, and now it's be left to the Champions League. What do you think they just need to do?
I think it's a very tricky thing for Hansi Flick now. What do you do? Do you play all your guns out and then win against a Valladolid side, or you rest your major players with one eye on the Inter semi-final second leg game against Inter? So for me, I think that of course Barca are a huge favorite, but they just have to be careful to manage the emotions of the game. You see, if you become overly complacent, because Valladolid I think they have been relegated also. So if you become overly complacent against these teams who have nothing to play for, they will just come and enjoy themselves, nick a 1-0 victory, and then they have pegged you, the big club who is playing for something this season. So for me, I think Barca are huge favorites, but they just have to manage the emotions of the game well. If I'm Hansi Flick, start the big guys, maybe get your 2-0 first half lead, sub them out, and then bring the other guys, the bench players, come and play.
Okay. So our viewers, what do you think about the UCL as in title race.
It's not.
Oh no, also the UCL race
Yeah.
in the English Premier League is going to be very interesting. Just go on our comment section. And to our Ghana Premier League lovers, I beg, please, this Sunday, if you support House of Folk, you support Asante Kotoko, go to the stadium and support your favorites. We don't know who will win. The Super Clash is this Sunday. House of Folk versus Asante Kotoko. Whoever you support, just go to the stadium and just let's make our league interesting. Or what do you think?
Let's bring back the laugh.
Yeah, what do you think, Sebas?
Oh,
Yeah,
it's a
hashtag
big
bring
game,
back
so
the laugh. Hashtag.
We need to bring back the love.
So
Very
quick
important.
one, House Kotoko is winning.
The referee. The referee will win.
The referee wins. Sebas, House Kotoko is winning.
Yeah, I think it's winning a draw.
What's winning a draw? Nabila, I want.
The referee will win.
No, I want your prediction. Who's winning?
I know they watch. I mean, I know they watch the Ghana game, but and I've heard hearts are all over the place. So I think maybe Kotoko might win it.
Okay, Asante Kotoko is beating House of Folk by 3-0. Take it from me. 3-0 on Sunday. Just take it from me. So as Nabila and Sefa said, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Like, subscribe. It's a wrap from us. Goodbye.